Rec Room players, and this is Meriesa. I'm building a Western map at the moment. It's going to be a template map so that others can use and change up. So this is what I'm working on right now, and you can ask me questions along the way. Can't wait to see, or like if there's any problems that you guys are having, or you want to see a different technique. Yeah, you can just ask me those questions while I'm building. Give me a second here. Tube. All right. So, let's see here. Hello, how are you doing? This is just Meriesa. I'm just getting set up. Alright. So, do you guys have any questions that you would like to ask? Alright. Yeah, there we go. Yep, now I can see all your comments. Hi. Well, yeah, hello, how are you guys doing? All things are good. So I'm just gonna, so what I'm gonna mention here is like, okay, I have this type of layout right here, and I have this one down here, and I actually changed this one up here, and then I copied it down here. So you could notice that the door frames are a little bit different. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna select this whole area here, and then I'm gonna copy it and replace this area here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I will be working on those new thumbnails soon, right? Yeah, I definitely need that. Okay, so you notice that the whole background went gray, right? This is actually really good for like focusing, but if you really don't want that, you can actually just open up your palette and go into settings and unclick that, and you can actually see all the colors that are around you, so you can actually work that way too. I kind of choose to put it on sometimes and choose not to, depending on how many objects I have in the room, but at the moment I don't actually have a lot of objects in the room, so I'm not going to go that route. Sorry guys, I'm not really sure who Coach is, but whoever she might be, she's really cool. Alright, so I'm just going to delete all of this stuff here. And probably just do this for about an hour. So if you guys want to get, guys want to get your questions in, you can do that too. And if I don't get to your questions, then I apologize in advance. Wait, hold on. Someone just asked her, hey, the frog, what kind of advice to give to people who are starting off with making creations with the maker pen? Yeah, so the thing is, I learned a lot about making the maker using the objects with the maker pen by just like creating small objects. I kind of already have a pretty good design background, so I knew a lot about designing, but like the tricks about grouping things and understanding how to save space was like a huge learning curve for me, especially. So after talking to a couple of other artists on Rec Room during that time, I learned those tricks, and then I kind of just went off from there, and I messed up a lot. I even have some of my old rooms in my room, Meriesa, and you can see those, and they're not that great actually, but you know, that's how I learned, so I share them with people. So right now what I did was I turned on snap and I put it to 1 centimeter in my palette by going to settings, and I'm going to move this. You see that's on the 1 centimeter snap. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't mean to move it actually. I meant to copy it. My bad. Hold on, I'm just gonna move this back. Okay, so you know what? I actually I'm not gonna really care about moving that back. You know what I'm gonna do? I am going to restore this room by going to details and restoring. Alright, so now that I restored, take a look at my messages. Yeah, you could actually do both. So right now I didn't do a scale piece mainly because I really wanted to see, I wasn't sure about the size of the city I wanted, but now I'm pretty sure about what kind of city I'm going to create. Beforehand, if I did it small, I think I would have actually just started over because I wasn't sure about the dynamic of the buildings would be. I wasn't sure about like those type of things. But what I do is like you can start off small. This time I actually started off as a bigger size because I wanted to keep really clean shapes and not keep them, not the shapes. I didn't want to keep the shapes really complex. I wanted to keep them kind of really simple and just like pretty simple, because people who are going to be editing this map are going to just want to change the colors really quickly, and if I had a whole bunch of shapes in them, that would be very difficult. All right, guys. Awesome questions. All right, so yes, building can be hard, but it can actually be fun too. So as you watch how I'm building, you can actually see about how I'm actually going to be doing things. And you can really grasp those ideas and just apply them to your rooms. So again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to actually go into this object here, and it's a full object. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to press edit, and now I'm in this grouped object. I'm going to delete a lot of these little objects in here. Now, if I did press edit, what would happen was I would delete the whole building. And I don't want to delete the whole building, so I press edit to get into that group. And I do have two different styles of windows here. I was going to go with this style of window, but I think I'm actually going to go with this style of window. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy these this side and actually bring it over here. I'll probably do the same thing with the other stuff too, but it's kind of hard to do that because you kind of need to keep it kind of the same dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to create. I'm going to go to cube. I'm going to go to settings, put it on 1 centimeter, and I have it already on snap. And then I'm going to I'm actually going to create, yeah. Just going to make sure that this is right. This is going to be my measuring tool. Right now, this is going to let me know how far away this is from this frame, so I can keep it at the right distance. I'm gonna get rid of these lines too later, but it's just gonna be my my guides, basically my ruler. It's kind of a little trick that I've learned over the past. So I'm going to do clone. I'm on snap, so it's going to be on the snap, so it's not moving all over the place. I'm just going to place these right here. I'm going to line these up. Looking good, looking good. Clone that over. I'm going to turn this around. So how am I going to turn this? I'm actually going to pull up my maker pen and go to rotate. Open the palette, go to settings, and make sure that I'm at 15 degrees, which I am. And then I'm going to rotate this around. It's still selected. Move. I'm going to place this in the middle here. Try to line those up right there. Okay, good. Should be good. Wait, let's see here. I'm just gonna move around just a little bit. Feels a little off. Not sure why. Ah, that's why. Just give me a second. I'm just making sure this is quite right now. Yes. Alright, so I was just making sure that that was actually quite right. I'm going to go back and read my messages real quick here. So someone was asking how you select different parts of an object. Well, all you do is, since I'm already in the group, so this is one group, right? We're going to press done here, and you can see that this is one group. If I move this, you can see that this is one group. If this happened to, let's say, get off the grid like that, what you can do is go to rotate, go to snap, go open up your palette, turn it to 90 degrees on snap, and then it'll go right back to the grid. As you can see here, I'm going to put it back down to 15 degrees, put it on move, and then I'll move it back into place. So that's how you can actually put it right back on snap. And then if anything happens, you always want to stay on snap for the most part, but sometimes it's really beneficial not to be on snap. And I've actually used, most of the time I can, work off snap, but I like to stay on snap as much as possible. So I'm going to go back into here, and you notice that I'm not selecting individual shapes. This is the full shape. To get into the shape itself, I would have to go to edit. And this allows me to be in the shape. So you can see the different little highlights. That means I'm in the shape. I can touch the individual pieces in here. To select the individual pieces, you just go to select here, and then you can select the individual pieces. I'm going to select my measuring tools here. Go to clone. I'm going to clone it and move it. Just like that. Bring it over here. I'm just going to turn this around, because I always had it on the right side. Whew. Not supposed to do that. So there we go. All right. Move that back into place. Just gonna measure this real quick. Okay. Keep that in the middle. See, that's a little off there. I'm gonna move this over. All right. Looking good. Okay. Now, yeah, you don't actually have to remake it. You want to be careful about when you're scaling. So a lot of people are concerned about scaling right now. So I'm actually going to stop this. I'm going to save this real quick, and I'm going to talk about scaling. All right. So the big trick to scaling is that you always want to be on the 1 centimeter grid system at all times. Okay. When you're on 1 centimeter, you want to make it as big as possible. So let's say this is our plain floor here. And this is not going to be perfect because I'm not too worried about this at the moment, but I kind of want to get my point across. Okay, make a little house here. All right, so let's just say this is our house. Okay. Actually, hold on. Get rid of that. I'll put this here. That. Now this is not perfect at all. I'm not really trying to be perfect right now. I'm just kind of trying to get a little point across because, I run into this problem. Like, everybody has this problem about scaling, and it's basically how large you start your object. Because if you make it like super small, it just looks and feels overwhelming when you enlarge it. Basically, you don't want it to feel like it was enlarged. You want to make sure that it looks pretty. That's the kind of height and width it's supposed to be at, instead of overdoing it. And the best way to not overdo it is to pull up your let's say your little avatar here, like you notice I have an avatar here, right? Usually I like to place it in place and see like where my avatar will be, and like maybe this is how big my door is going to be, and this is how big my window is going to be, and I like to justify things off of my avatar. Alright. And I know I said that in the past too, but I still use that a lot. Alright. And then what I'm going to do here is, when you're building things small, I usually don't put a lot of details into objects until they're already expanded. Do a select here. Clone. Select again. Clone. Let me clone it. There we go. Alright. And we can do like a, let's say, create cube. Actually, I like to use a wedge for this. The reason why I like to use a wedge is because it's nice and flat. It's not, but it has like this kind of like siding here where it's kind of thick on the bottom. That's alright. I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to turn this around. Move this a little bit closer. You notice that it's just sometimes when it's not like lined up correctly, it will scale it up just so slightly, and it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off snap and scale it just a tad bit. There we go. There we go. And usually I like to take it off snap when I'm scaling because it helps just even it out with the details. And I'll put it back on snap and I'll move it. As you can see here. Okay, clone. Turn this around. Move this. Then I'm going to create a cube. Alright, and then move that up. Snap. Alright, so this is not a perfect little house at the moment, but kind of gives it a, general close. Alright, so done editing, and I'm going to scale this up real quick. Alright. So, yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good size in here. What you don't want is this to be very, very big. Because if you actually end up doing, let's go into create, cube. You actually made your house like this big, let's say. Just a little square. Put this little door here. This is awful. I'm gonna delete this. This bothers me a lot. Back into recreating that. I'm not trying to be perfect here. Just trying to get a point across. Say this is our door. And this is how small I made this house, right? I'm going to press done and then scale. And you notice how I didn't actually use my avatar for this one. And it's really big, right? Oh, man, this is really, really abnormally big compared to this one where I did use my avatar. And this is just really frustrating. So I would actually use your avatar as a reference just to see how big it should be. And because this is just like really clunky here. So that's just the tip I'm going to give for that. Do you guys have any other questions on that? I mean, I don't mean to talk funny into holotars. Sorry, guys. I just, you guys can delete the holotars just to introduce the room. They're meant to be deleted. I delete them. Oh, so my little button up here, it's just a bug. I report bugs that way, if that's what you were wondering. Yeah, what I do is I usually lay out a foundation of my rooms and creations, so that I understand like what composition I want. I think about the overall composition. I think about how people will move throughout the whole room. Because if you have a complete flat experience, which you see, this is a complete flat experience, it kind of becomes a drag. So like you really want them to experience different widths and let me see how I can say this. Different widths and just different forms of compositions. Because if you're walking through something that is just feels the same and repetitive, it kind of gets boring to players. So you want to create something that kind of has different steps and different movements and different like paths, that maybe like someone goes upstairs, how does that feel? How does it when you jump off a building, what does that look like? And all those type of experiences really matter in a map because it keeps people interested in your map. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to learn circuits, I would actually just go through, if you open the palette, gadgets, basically how I learned, I went through some of the tutorial rooms, I talked to people who knew about circuits, so I know how to use like gizmos, and basically this is my favorite chip of all time, and I use this chip for everything, and I use this one too. This one's a very popular one. This one as well. This is good for games like random chips, other chips. You got these are good chips to understand what kind of numbers are going throughout your room, like who's coming in, who's going out. Like you can actually really see it that way. Yeah, this is basically, it does take some time to understand, but once you like just start small with the chips and work your way up, because once you understand the simple logic of trying to get somebody in a trigger zone and trying to spawn somebody out of trigger zone, you'll learn how to use circuits. That's how I did it. It's like when I learned how to set up trigger zones and then get people to be spawned off the stage. that was how I learned circuits. And basically I learned all my circuits from Velp and Trunks and Ram's Play and also Shaquille. Actually, a lot of people in Rec Room went over with chips with me, and I worked, pretty closely with a lot of people who knew chips. So that's just how I learned is, work together in big groups, and you'll learn something from them, and they'll learn something from you. All right, so I'm gonna get back to work here. So you notice that this is now fixed. The windows down here are not quite fixed, but I kind of want to get this down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this area, and then I'm going to clone it and move it down here. So what I'm going to do is select all my objects. And basically I'm holding down the trigger and selecting the objects that I want to select. Okay, got my objects all selected. I might want to select these as well. Making sure I didn't select anything else. Oh, I need to select that. Alright, so now I'm going to clone it. I'm on my snap grid, my palette, make sure I'm on the right setting. Yes, I am. And clone. Alright, I'm going to tuck this in here. Try to line this up perfectly even here. Make sure that this is aligned correctly. Notice that this is kind of up there. And this has a little more space down here. I'm going to probably move this up just so slightly. Alright. Actually, that was actually pretty good. I'm going to move this over. Just trying to line this up. And I'm just going to make sure here that this is right. I don't really care about this access down here. I'm going to cover that up later. And I noticed that's a little... No, it's about right. It's about right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good there. I'm going to go done. Go back into edit. Now, I didn't have to click done, actually, but I just decided to. Alright. Okay. Good, good. So now that I have this, like, this kind of weird facade up here, I kind of want to bring it down here to keep a little more consistency throughout the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. And I'm not going to select the part. I'm just only going to select this wooden part here. Clone it. I'm on snap. And just drag this down. Alright. Let's see what you guys are saying at this moment. Yeah, sometimes, Dale Hunter. Okay, Dale Hunter. Yeah, I would try to do it at scale version. Otherwise, try to message me and then we can meet up sometime and I can go over with it with your ship and give you some pointers on that. You're just gonna have to contact Rec Room support if you want to get unbanned. Sorry. Yeah, one day we'll get whips in here, hopefully. Well, actually we will at some point, but not right away. Okay, so back to work. Alright, so you notice that I kind of brought this facade down, right? But you notice that I have kind of like a gap here, and it's kind of inconsistent with down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to bring it a little bit down. I'm going to see if I can actually bring this up a little bit more without actually causing some issues. Let's see here. Does that cause some issues? Not too much, not too much. That's a little off. I'm going to move this over. And I noticed that my windows are okay. Actually, that is fine. That's fine. Yeah. Alright. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select outside. Now I can see that I have that's fine. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Okay. Alright, so I'm actually deciding that this is actually not working. But what I'm going to do is that I'm probably just going to delete this top part here and move this up. Go back into edit because I accidentally clicked wire, and then go into move. Yeah, so that kind of gives it a nice break it up even. See what this looks like. So what I'm trying to do is trying to even everything out as much as possible. Trying to make everything look kind of seamless as much as possible here. Clone this. I didn't actually need to clone that, but I just decided to. Alright. Sure that that's pretty even with those pixels there. It's not, is it? Yeah, this needs to be a little bit more in. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a little cute little balcony up here. That'd be great. This is going to be like a little store for sure. And get rid of this thing. Did I freeze this accidentally? Alright, hold on. Let me see if I'm going to save this room. Save. I'm going to go into edit here. I'm going to delete. Alright. There we go. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, you can also message me the thumbnail too, by the way. Alright, yeah, little nice conversations going in there. Okay, so now I'm going to get back into here. So I went back into edit, clicked on edit to get back into here, because once you save, it goes back into a full group. You want to make sure you edit to actually start working on it, because if you actually start building on the edit group, it won't be in one group. It's going to be outside, so you will have to select all those different objects on top of the main object that you're working on, and that might cause some issues, especially with spacing. So that's another trick. If you keep everything as much as possible in one group, you'll actually save more space. When you open up your palette, you can actually see how much space I'm taking up so far. I'm only taking up about 1%. So basically I want to keep all my buildings as simple as possible. I'm not putting a whole lot of detail in the buildings because I'm going to have a lot of buildings. I'm going to have a lot of different type of buildings, but I'm going to keep them as simple as possible, but still have some geometric shape to them so that they feel like they're more than what they look like. So, yeah. Alright, I'm going to go back into selecting here. Actually, I'm going to delete this first. Delete these little windows here, since I chose a different kind of window design. Go back into select. Go into clone. Alright, yeah, that looks about right. And make sure with my other measurements here. Yeah. Alright, so that looks good there, and I'm going to clone this. just gonna turn this around. So it's mainly going right side. No, that should be good. Never mind. Ooh, almost moved it up. Uh-oh. So now that I clicked another piece, that this is deselected now. We'll go back into selecting. There we go. Now I'm back into selecting. I'm gonna rotate here to where I was. Move. Back on the move tool. Alright, this should be good. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna see what you guys are saying. Yeah, when you have backup saves, it will save backups, but if you crash, go to your backup save and restore it right away. You don't want to restore to another save because it's just going to go back to that. You want to restore to the backup save ASAP. You don't want to draw anything in your room. You don't want to make anything else in your room. You want to go straight to the backup save, and it should pop up with the last backup save. If you lose some work, it happens. You're just gonna have to redo it, but hopefully it's not that much work at all. All right. Okay, I'm just gonna delete these now. Just checking everything. So now I'm gonna, so originally if I wasn't doing a whole bunch of buildings, I would actually do wooden plank floors in here. But because I'm doing a whole bunch of buildings, I need to keep in mind about how much, what exactly am I going to be doing? Because if I put too much details in my floors, I'm going to take up too much space in the room. I need to keep everything as not as perfect, but as simple as possible so that I'm not taking up too much space in my room. Because I do plan on having quite a bit of buildings. If I do intend to have a lot more space, I'll go back and I'll redo the floors, but I really don't expect a lot from that, because I actually do expect I'm going to actually take up a lot of space because I'm doing multiple buildings. Now, if this was my room and if this was not a template room, I would have probably done most of the buildings in one group. But I'm not going to do the buildings in one group because I want people to easily delete individual buildings if they want, edit them, clone them. So I'm going to have all the buildings individually, mainly for that specific reason, so they can choose what they want to keep and what they don't want to keep, so it's not complex when you go and edit and you delete a whole bunch of shapes. So that's why I'm going to keep them separate, and that will take up space. Alright guys, so what we're gonna do is, do you guys have any more questions about scaling? Because we kind of went over scaling. Do you guys have any other questions about creating buildings or any type of building issues? Wow, we got a bunch of people talking about underage. All right. All right. Okay, so we're just going to get back into here. Go ahead and create. How I got a pink block. I don't mean to use a pink block, but I'll just change the color. And if you're unaware about changing colors, you just go to Recolor tool, and then you just select the color that you want. I think I'm going to go for a dark wood on this one. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Create again, make sure I'm in the cube, take this right here, from this point, and honestly what I should have done was match it with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my snap settings. I'm going to turn it to 10 centimeters. And then what I'm going to do is this real quick. Alright, and try to line up with the corners here. Okay, good. Alright, I'm not too worried about this part right here. I'm going to worry about that later because I'm going to add siding. I'm going to add a little porch area, and the porch area will cover this up. But a great way of actually creating a little more of a finished look here is by going into Create, going into Settings, and keep it at 1 centimeters. And just creating that kind of more finished look there. You can even add another one if you like. Kind of give it a wooden pattern kind of look. Yeah. Alright. Looks good. And then what you could do, I'm going to bring it back out my palette again, go in my shapes, go into wedge. Alright, and then I'm going to turn this around. Make sure that my setting's at 115. Move it back into place here. Actually, I'm going to turn this around even more so. This is kind of guessing right now. I'm kind of like seeing how I like this. Do I like this at all? At the moment, I do kind of like it. So, create, go back into cube settings, put it at 10 centimeters. Kind of give it a little more finished look there. I'm actually going to clone this right now. I'm actually going to go back into the palette, go into settings, put it at 1 centimeters, and go into select. Not selecting that, and then I'm going to clone this right here. Ooh, clone the wrong thing. Alright, I'm going to delete that. Select. Unselect that. Clone. Alright. Go here. Great. Clone. I'm kind of like testing it out a little bit right now because I'm not sure if I like this quite yet, but I do need to make sure that this is matching up with the other one. So what I'm going to do to make sure that it is matching up with the other one, so I'm just trying to get it aligned there. Just give me a second. Alright. There we go. Maybe. Alright. Oh, I can see that there's a little gap and there isn't one here, so this is probably moved a little further over than expected. There we go. Alright. Alright, so if this ever happens to you, which it does to me sometimes, just click off, and then the buttons will show up. So your menu will pop up, and if your menu doesn't pop up, you can just easily drop your gun real quick, pick it back up again, and then you go back into edit and you could edit your stuff. I'm just going to check the comments here real quick. I think that my opinion on screen players is very different than most people because I think that VR can influence screen players, and a lot of screen players want to build, so I think it's, you know, maybe the behavior has gotten a little bit I don't know. I am really for screen players because it will inspire them to get a VR headset, and it has inspired them to get a VR headset. So I'm actually for screen players, but you know, it's kind of a interesting topic, and should just keep it at building. Any other questions? Yeah, there's a whole thing about blah. All right, so it actually does look pretty good. A really good way of actually measuring this out is actually going to your palette, go back into settings and make sure it's at 10 centimeters. And then I'm going to go and create, yes, the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is lined up and see if it's lining up with my other one here. Alright, and it's not lining up. So that one's a little over compared to this one. So I'm going to move this over. There we go. And since that is over, then this one is not in the right place. Alright. Whoops. Kind of flew there. Alright. Alright, so now that that works, I'm going to delete that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a little border here. So what I'm finding myself doing is I'm actually adding more detail when I should be adding more detail. But I don't think it's too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And you notice that there's like the Z fighting, right? This is what we call Z fighting, when we have two shapes at the exact same level, and it creates this kind of flickering, which is actually kind of cool in some like glitching techniques where you can like make TVs, they can do that. So what we want to do is to get rid of that, you can scale it just so slightly. Okay. Yeah. And it actually gets rid of most Z fighting, but there is still a little bit there. I'm not sure. It's probably in this one. Yeah. But that's a way of getting rid of it. Usually what I would do is just move it regardless. I think PS4 actually sees Z fighting a lot more than we do. But, here. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's not what I wanted, actually. I wanted to have that a little bit more thicker. I didn't know it went that thin. Go back into this mode. Trying to make sure that's... There we go. Alright, so it has like a really nice trim there. So what's going to happen here is that this is going to become a much bigger block here. So what I'm gonna... okay, so right now I'm just like trying to think about how I'm going to make my railings. So either I can make them round, which would kind of wouldn't actually make a whole lot of sense with the full building architecture since all of it is blocks, but I could add some round shapes if I wanted to. I'm not going to, so I think what I'm going to do, create that shape. Now because I'm kind of just still figuring this out, I actually might end up getting rid of this shape here. depending on how this is going to work. Go into settings, go into 1 centimeter here. That looks a little odd. I'm not really liking this right now, so I might not go this direction anymore. So this is the kind of things that I run into when I'm building, is like I try something, I test it out, and then I probably will change it. So I'm basically like experimenting as I'm building, but still like changing, see what I like, see what works and see what doesn't work, and then I delete it later. Right now I'm not really liking this, so. All right. Okay. Create. Okay, let me try a skinny version this time. That way, if I do a skinny version and kind of a big version this way, and then like kind of lines up with this, but also lines up with this this facade, I'm going to see what it might look like. So I'm going to move this over. And I'm still not liking that. So, oh wait, that looks a little bit better. Kind of liking that. Okay. Kind of liking that. So I might go with this. Maybe. I'm going to test it. I'm going to see if this works. Not sure if I like this side though. Alright. Okay. Alright, back into settings. I'm going to go into 10 centimeters. I'm just going to test this out and see where it goes, basically. Might not like it. Might like it. Might not like it. I don't know. Just going to delete that. Create again. A little higher. So I do this. This is my plan throughout the whole thing. But I'm going to run into some Z fighting issues here. Alright. Let's see here. 2. Clone. Alright. So to make sure that my individual pieces are at the same length, I usually try to kind of measure it out with blocks. I try to do as many measuring tools as possible. So I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to go back to 1 centimeter. Okay, there we go. 1 centimeter, select. I'm actually kind of liking this bevel here at the moment. I'm going to try one without one and see how that looks. So basically, I'm just testing things out, see what I like and see what I don't like. See what works and see what doesn't work. Do I like it without the bubble? Alright, so at the moment, I'm actually kind of liking it without the bubble. Go back to 1 centimeter, moving this over. Yeah, okay, so I'm actually liking it without the bubble now. So I'm going to delete that, clone this over here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good there. Yeah, you can mention any type of request that you guys have for whatever you guys have on Discord. You can also submit it Any ideas through email? There's a lot of ways that you can give your feedback. Reddit, Discord. Hold on. I'm being distracted. Clone. There we go. That's how you can do it. So usually I just submit it on, I talk to them now, but beforehand I would just mention ideas of like really big ones, because in the past when they didn't have flying, I remember when I was building the frozen castle and I actually ruined my cord, and I was like, hey guys, can we fly in our custom rooms? It would be so great. I would like not to ruin my cord, because I ghost a lot way back when I was building. So like you can reach out to them in a lot of different ways. Discord, Reddit, you can email them, direct message them. But yeah, go ahead and mention your ideas and people will upvote it and do all kinds of things. And mention why you would like that and see if other people would like it too. And if other people like it, then most likely it'll probably get done. Alright. Well, the reason why I wasn't doing that was because I wasn't sure on what kind of siding I was gonna stay with, but now I'm going to clone the whole thing. But I'm gonna get rid of this thing first. Alright. So I've selected the select tool, and now I'm selecting all the objects. And clone, left on snap, 1 centimeter grid, and I'm gonna clone now. Alright, moving it to place. Alright, a little off there. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna clone again. Move that. Right. Might run into some issues here, so I'm just going to deselect this and select. Let's go and select here. Move. Wondering if I'm gonna make it. Ooh, I'm not gonna make it. That's gonna suck. Alright, so I'm off by a block, which really sucks. So I need to rethink about how I'm going to build this. Should I stay at 3 blocks? Every 3 blocks? 4. I could just do... Alright, I'm probably going to be changing a lot, so I'm going to go back into save. Save. Take a look here. Alright. Alright, going back into edit. Alright, I mean this is gonna change a lot because that didn't match up. Alright. Okay. Alright, so since that didn't match up, I'm going to try something different. I'm gonna go into move. I'm gonna try to do 3 here. Right. Okay, I'm gonna see what this does. I might actually leave this at 4, and that actually might be better because it would save me more shapes. Okay, go back into select, clone. Ooh, that's messed up. Clone again. Alright, delete this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it down to 4. Dang. That's what you guys are saying. Oh my goodness. Alright, so are any of you like, what are you guys like really struggling with more besides scaling? Because we kind of went over scaling. I can go over again if it seems like it's kind of really frustrating still. You just want to make sure that you're keeping proper dimensions, and that is not easy to do. Delete this. Select all of this. Move it over. Okay. I'm actually going to probably fix this later, but I kind of want to show you guys what I'm going through here. Basically, I'm eyeballing it. Centering it there. And then going into create, block. And then I'm going to delete these little guys. Alright, and then what I'm going to do, probably going to do this, clone. Go into shapes. Going to turn that around real quick. Oh no. Basically what I'm doing right now is causing more shapes. Creating more details, which is you should not be doing. No. Don't like that anyway. Do this again, clone. Rotate. Move. Kind of maybe want to try to keep that kind of built look. I'm gonna bring it out more and see what that looks like. Doesn't look too bad. Not really liking that. I'm gonna delete that real quick. Clone that. See? Now you notice how it doesn't pop up my screen if I click off. Now it does pop up. But you have to click off. But it's best if you click outside of your object, because you might end up causing more problems. Like I could have deleted one of these one of the maker pen objects in here, but because I clicked off, the menu will pop up. Because if you ever run into the glitch where the menu doesn't pop up, just click off or move an object or like drop your maker pen, re-pick it up, and then go back into edit and edit your shape, then your menu would pop up. But sometimes the menu does not pop up, and that's how you can get around that. Alright. Okay, kind of like where that's going. And most of the time when I'm building, I always ask a couple people come in and they give me suggestions, or if they'll tell me if they don't like something, and then I'll change it. I like to get as much feedback as possible. I'm going to delete that. Basically, I'm experimenting again. Cube 10 centimeters. Alright, and sometimes I go off. I create one extra square basically, because if I move it or adjust it, I want it to align to the other one, and sometimes I will have to go a little outward just to do that. So that's why I did that. As you can see, it aligns kind of perfectly. And then I go into clone and clone one of these shapes here. Alright, let's see what everybody's saying. Well, hello everyone. All the new people that came in. Yep, so what I'm basically doing is I'm just creating so you guys can learn from me, and maybe I can learn something from you, but just to give you pointers of like how I build so it can help you build. Right now I'm building at scale. Sometimes I build at small scale and I blow it up. I do either one, but if I build small scale, I usually try to keep it as basic geometric. So when I blow it up, I add the details, which means I add the window trims, I will add the doorway trims, trims along the walls, just to give it a little more details, a little more finished look. So that's what I usually do. Go back into create. Cube there. Actually, I want to be at 10 centimeters. Oops. No, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so I accidentally pressed the wire button, so now that I accidentally pressed wire button, I have to go back into edit, go and click on it, so I'm back into my shapes, so I'm not drawing on top of my shapes. I'm going to move this back here. I'm going to go back into 1 centimeter. Clone. Yeah, looks much nicer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some kind of decorative element to break up this, basically. Okay. I'm going to see what that looks like here. Go into shapes. I'm going to go into uniform shapes. That means it keeps uniform shapes, keep shapes at a fixed height and width. So I can create these really nice fixed height and width objects. I'm go ahead and move that object. I'm just going to see what this looks like. At the moment, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this. So I'm going to see if this works, and to me it doesn't work. So I'm going to delete this object. I'm going to go back into my palette here, go back into shapes and go click on this and see what this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off snap and scale it and see how this works. Basically, I'm trying things out. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to like them. Actually, I don't like that. So I'm going to clone. I'm going to go into settings, put it 1 centimeter. Kind of liking that right now. I'm going to go into scale. I kind of was going for that look, but I'm actually not liking that too much right now. I'm going to delete this. And then see if I can recreate the shape to go upward, because I think that would actually be very nice instead of cloning it and having more shapes. So I'm going to go back into create, go back into settings, go back at 10 centimeters. Oh, well, I'm back on uniform shapes. Want to get rid of that. Create. See what this does. Move. Yep, that's not gonna work. Create 1 centimeter. I did not actually complete that quite yet. I'm gonna go back into creating that again. Make sure I have that right this time. Make sure I have this right. Alright, move this. Delete this. Move this back into place. I'm gonna check this other one. I'm gonna check my comments real quick. Alright, so here we go. I'm just gonna go back into clone and see if anybody said anything. Alright. I'm gonna delete this one now. And just give me a second, I'm about to sneeze. Alright, nope. Okay, that's good. Alright. Looking pretty good there. Alright. See, that's actually looking pretty good. It didn't start off like it was going in a pretty good place, but now it's actually going in a pretty good place. So, I'm not too worried about it. I'm probably going to keep this. Okay. I'm going to see what this looks like. Do I like that? I'm not sure if I care for that much. Actually, I don't care for that much, so I'm probably not going to do that. I'm not sure if I'll actually keep this. Okay. I like that better. Probably gonna move this over. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'll probably fix it a little bit later. But this is what I'm going for. I'm just kind of moving around things just to see if they align correctly. But if it's really hard for you guys to align something correctly, it's always really good to use the rulers, like the ruler idea. That way you know for a fact that it is lining up correctly. This is not coming down far enough. Also looks about right there too. Gonna see. Great. So that's lining with that. That's not. Alright. See what you guys are saying. Alright. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is probably just gonna have like about 2 here. Clone. Alright, so if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask them now because I'm gonna stop streaming pretty soon here. And then I'll probably finish the rest up tomorrow. I'll probably turn on some streaming at some point during that time. But if you guys have any other questions, go ahead, feel free to ask them now, and then we can get those answered. I'm using Vive Pro right now. I do have an Oculus as well. I started off with the Oculus, and then I moved to Vive Pro, mainly because one of my controllers on my Oculus died. And I figured I'll just give the Vive Pro a try. So I got the Vive Pro, and I do like it. However, I find the headset a little heavy. But Oculus is really cool too. I think it works really well. I've used both headsets. I think that Oculus is actually pretty good on multiple levels. I do like how light it is compared to the Vive, but the quality on the Vive is, well, at least the Vive Pro is actually pretty good. So when I get back into this area in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a small little stairwell, and it's going to curve down into this area, and then I'm going to make this like a little store area. So this is going to be an upper level with kind of I would say a balcony kind of look in here. Anybody can actually just change this up if they would like, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the back part yet. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to keep it flat with a big window at the bottom here. Probably leave it, maybe add the window here, but I might not add a window here. It depends on how much shapes I'm keeping in this one, but I think this one might be my most detailed one. I'm not done with this one yet. I still have to smooth out the bottom here and add some railings as well, and then add a way to get up to this level kind of seamlessly so that other players can get on here, such as people who teleport, players that are on screen mode, and so forth. Make it really easy. I do have this top here. I might just leave this hard to get to. If you can get to it, you can get to it. Great. If you can't, you can't. But I'd probably get a couple of people in here and see if they can figure out how to get up there. It'd be kind of cool to see. Okay, so are you talking about the ground that I have, like the dirt, like right here? Basically, it's just a maker pen object, and I scaled it up to this point. As you can see, right now it's frozen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press done, and I'm going to unfreeze it, so this part is actually unfrozen now. I'm going to move this up now. And basically what this is just a maker pen object. And it's just a little small square, such as like this, scaled really, really far. And I can change its color by doing this, as you can see. Not that I would have any of these colors, but I think this will do for this type of map for sure. And I'm probably going to put it, if you go to this room, go to setup and general setup, I'm probably going to keep it at a like cozy sunrise, where night sky looks really cool too. This one's probably one of my most favorites, and I'm probably going to keep it at this. But I'm gonna have like lines of shops. I'm gonna have a motel over here. I'm gonna have a bank over here. It's gonna be great. And then I'm gonna have some like, you know, what are those things called? Haystacks. I'm gonna have some haystacks. I'm gonna have like some horses. Definitely gonna have horses. That's for sure. I'll make some horses in here. I'm gonna have some costumes that people can try on and role play and do a lot in here. I just can't wait to see what people actually do with it. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to have a little bar in here too. But I'm going to keep it as simple as possible so that I can put as much as I can in here. I'm just at like about 2% right now, so I'm doing pretty good. So I'll probably keep doing that and just keep it maker pen objects, and then I'll probably add some other objects such as props a little bit later. But I usually try not to go past 50% in my rooms because I want to give people an opportunity to delete things. And if I do go over 50% in the rooms, it usually has like a lot of props, so they can like delete those props too and add their own. So well, thank you. I really do enjoy making rooms, and I enjoy I enjoy watching people use them as well to see what they come up with. It's really fun to me, so I enjoy it as well. And I really like to inspire people and to make good things, because I know that they can, and they will. So do any of you guys have any other questions? My name is spelled as Meriesa, and it's pronounced as Meriesa. Meriesa. Some people get it wrong, and that's okay. Some people, it's basically 50-50. You either get it right or you don't. So, I don't get mad at people if they get it wrong, though. Yes, this is a Western map theme. And this is going to be one of the template rooms that people can use and change up if they like. I'm good, Jay, thanks. Well, it could be whatever you guys want it to be. I'm not gonna I'm not judging, that's for sure. Alright guys, I'm going to end this stream. I wish you guys the best of luck. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, just keep an eye out and invite me to your rooms. Alright, you have a good one, you guys.